Another thing you're going to want to do with this assembly is to very carefully grab the edge of one of these rubber boots. If you can pull it back, it'll expose inside this metal piston. If it moves freely, like way loose, it should move about this speed when you pull on it. That means it's nice and full of grease. If it's really easy to move, take that boot off and look in here. And if it's dry, you need to get some high temperature silicone lubricant. It'll look something like this. It'll either be a light blue or a purple or something. And then you put it on the end of your bolt, wipe it off inside this edge, and put this straight down inside. And then when your boot reaches the edge, you should be able to grab it and just very lightly push it over. So now I've fitted the piece here with the new caliper and put the bolt in. I haven't tightened it up all the way, but I'm about to do that right now. Same thing, put it in the vise, not gripping, just so it holds it in place so it doesn't turn. And just turn it till it's tight, and then a little tiny bit after that. We put some anti-seize on these bolts just so they won't get jammed in there at a later date. That should be good. We're applying some brake silencer to the back of these pads. It takes about 10 minutes to dry, and it'll keep them from squeaking or making any high-pitched noises when you're braking. Now we're going to install this brake pad. This one, in particular, from this brand is marked inner. So you take this brake, turn it with the tabs down, drop it through this opening here. Well, here's the kind of brake silencer we're using. Disc brake quiet is what it's called. So you very carefully lower the brake pad through here towards those little clips that we installed earlier. And you get it under one edge, and you try and get the edge of the tab and lift it. And that'll allow the brake to fit into that tab, like so. I'll show you on this side too. You can reach from the back, grab it and lift it up. It'll fit right in like that. This one you can push all the way back against the piston, like that. Now this whole assembly can move to make the installation easier. So I'm going to grab my other brake pad. This one's marked outer, you can't see it. Another thing, if your hands are full of grease, you want to be really careful about touching this surface, because it'll make it wear in an uneven manner. So same thing, metal tabs down, carefully lower it into this space, if I can get it to fit, like so. Lift the tabs, push one side in and then the other. And that should be it. Now this whole assembly can move back and forth. You can squeeze your rotor in there once we get it on the wheel. This next part is the two-man job. I already have this reassembled, but what you're going to need to do is have someone here grab a channel lock and carefully squeeze the emergency brake piece into place to release tension on this holder here. And then have yourself or someone else grab this spring and pull it away from the piece of plastic to expose that center cable in there and insert it in this channel. And once you do that, you can fit the piece of plastic through the hole and let the spring back, and then release this. So very carefully fit your caliper and assembly over the rotor and put the two bolts that hold it in place back in. And just turn these until you can't turn them anymore. And if you want to get technical, you can grab a torque wrench and torque it to 81 pounds. Next step here is to loosen your brake bleeder and put your hose over it. This will be sure that when you reconnect your brake line up here, fluid can start to run into it, and you can apply a vacuum to pull it all through. That'll speed up the process of getting fluid into the caliper. So I'm going to take this off, very carefully feed it back up through here as not to get junk in it. And it should turn and lock into place like that. Now I need to get my clip that I had earlier and just push it right back over here to lock it in place. So here's my clip. I'm going to put it right here and try to push it into place. If it won't fit, just grab something like a wrench and very carefully tap it into place. Okay, what you want to do here is get a very wide-bladed screwdriver. If you can't get it, go in just by tapping it with your pliers. Set it against it here so as not to have it go under it. This is a very thin screwdriver. If I had a thicker one, I would lay it this way. But I'm going to set it like this since it's so close. And just tap on the back of the screwdriver and it should pop right into place. Just like that. Now the next step is to take my cap that I borrowed from the old caliper off and put it back in here. So I'm going to take this off. Be sure you have your drip pan in place so that it doesn't spill all over your floor. And very carefully put it right back in here. And I'll get my brake wrench and turn it into place. Once you get your brake fitting here tight, you do not want to over tighten it. These are only made of brass and they'll strip very easily, especially on some other harder metal. So tighten it until it stops moving and don't turn much further, otherwise you will strip it. Put your hose for your brake bleeder over the nipple for the bleeder and loosen the bolt. And when you loosen it, no fluid will probably come out. So you can either have a friend go and press the pedal or apply a vacuum on your brake bleeder, like I just did, and then go press the brake yourself. You have to be careful since this does lose vacuum over time. And once you're done, you tighten the bleeder when you don't see any air bubbles traveling out right outside the nozzle here.